The divine diva knows her dark angel inside can be hurt, pained.
Shall we begin?
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Let's begin now.
Ignore me no more, or forever miss me gone. Stop caring, I will.
Sweet girl, I am, yes. Don't underestimate me. Cut a bitch, I will.
There went Pops one day, suggesting I do something in a whole new way.
While she lets her creator heal
Hello.
her and fool, she gives that darkness inside
let me
a
turn
hug
this down.
and lets herself know it'll be okay.
I put my SoundCloud on because I don't have anything copyrighted on there. And so I can listen to my spoken word while I do this, and I don't have to worry about copyright dings. Oh, hello, you people watching, my lovelies. I see my number says 3. What you are looking at is my haiku series original artwork book where I saved everything as I was going through them. Most of these are done and don't need anything done to them, but I am going to go through them anyway, and I'm going to do some finishing touches of painting and things of that nature to a few pieces that I want to, I just want to do that with, you know. They're fine the way they are, but I am a little bit of a perfectionist. No shock to anyone who actually knows me. So this one is one of the first ones that I'm going to do some stuff to. So this goes with one of the haikus. I've got all my stuff set up next to me. What do I want? Which palette? Okay. So in addition to just some color touch-up I'm going to do, I'm going to reinforce some of the blacks in these over the course of my campaign. The campaign details are in the information for this post. So if you get a chance, go check it out. If not, enjoy keeping me company. Say hi if you're there, those of you that are. Or you can just, you know, keep this on while I'm painting. And let me make sure. I'm totally getting the hang of the camera, and I'm kind of loving not being in the stream because I don't need to be in there. Okay, so this goes to one of the haikus, and I did this one with markers, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to come back to this and just give it a pass over with some paint and colors. All of the artwork in the manuscript, in my opinion, is just fine the way it is. So this is more about my own personal taste and wanting to improve something that's already as just perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to come in here and work on all of these as I'm going through the course of this campaign. And why not let people watch me? Haha. The guy who says, floors us, makes us flutter. Oh, this guy. I'm about to, one of my big projects this week, other than promoting Love Premiere TOME, is recording my next spoken word poetry album. So that was another reason why I put my SoundCloud on, because a few of my poetry collections, when I originally did them, I didn't do my own music. I did them with copyright-free music. And so that's the ones that are on my SoundCloud. So they're perfectly they should be perfectly safe for me to play during broadcasts. And I want to kind of, it's my way of having something to listen to, but also get myself prepped for doing the vocals on some of them again. I'm going to do, I don't have to redo all the vocals, but I do need to redo the vocals on some of the ones that need better sound quality. Now that I have a better mic and all that stuff, I'm going to, some of them will be reproduced from start to finish. But yeah, I am super excited to get to be able to work on that in addition to everything else I've got going on. I'm ready. I'm like on fire ready to release another spoken word poetry album. Ooh, the sea, that's much louder. Right there. That is definitely an example of why some of the vocals need to be redone.
Rather than keep one burning.
Back to her good love, bountiful waves of bliss,
where she knew how to nurture like only the mother could. She is the sea, the ocean.
I have a few poems about Mother Ocean.
By those still preferring the
being someone who was a foster kid without a mom, the ocean became a really strong spiritual guide for me because it's a part of nature that she is who she is and what she does, and you know, trying to fuck with the ocean is like trying to tempt karma or fate or something like that. So good luck. Don't do it. Just, you know, just let it be. It's a futile effort. But I know I don't get to the ocean enough. I don't go out west enough, but I do know that she's there no matter what I'm doing, no matter how my day's going, knowing that if I wanted to hop in my car and go west, the ocean is there. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why as much as I would imagine, oh my God, my stand-up comedy's on here. I forgot all about that. Well, I forgot all about that.
Check out my ass.
Check out my ass. Oh, that's funny.
I lost 140 pounds.
No, I did not break up with a guy.
You know, I tell people I lost 140 pounds and most of them don't get it.
They don't get it.
Is anybody out here right now weighing anywhere around 140, give or take? Anybody?
No one wants to admit it. No one wants to admit it.
She said she raised her hand. Someone.
This is going to be really super fun. I'm already digging the difference in the color using the watercolors over the markers, and yeah, I'm gonna dig it. I'm gonna dig it, and I only have like maybe a handful that I'm gonna do this with because most of them are all so done and they're hand painted already, and I don't even need to touch them. I think it's probably mostly going to be the ones I did with markers that I'm going to go back through and touch up and just pretty up with a little bit of paint because that is more me. I'm not really, like I use markers, but it's not really my jam, so.
A little bit of fat does not stand in the way of a man getting laid.
No, fat will never keep you from getting laid. Just doesn't happen.
Okay, especially if there's alcohol in the mix. Okay, tell me. Yeah, and you know, the other thing, now that's not very reassuring, but I do try to tell them, honey, come on. I know what's tight. Seriously, guys, if you sitting at home thinking, 6 foot tall, big fat woman, that's the one I want to go out and meet her. Where is she? She's my type. Oh, damn, racist.
There's always someone raising his hand. Hi, Lola. That is me. That's actually my SoundCloud with my stand-up. Hold on a second, Lola. I am going to copy, and I'm going to put this. I put the link in comments if you wanted to join me. Lola Met says, "Hi, Dory. Are you watching something or in an airport?" I know it does sound like that. It's my stand-up comedy. I was like trying to think of something that I can put on while I'm painting that wouldn't get me dinged, like copyright dinged or whatever. And my SoundCloud's perfect for that.
Because, you know, I'm serious. Tell me, honey, just a second.
Oh my God. This is my joke about head lips.
I have to stop with a little bit of lipper size. Okay?
Lipper size.
All right, and my last little word to everyone is a little public service message for actually everyone here.
Hey, I hear her. Hold on. Hi, girl.
How's it going?
Oh, nothing much. I'm coming through. Let me turn this down. I'm going through my haiku series art, and I'm just doing some finishing touches on some of the pages.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it.
Thank you. They're technically done, but I still want to kind of come in here. Like, this was a piece I did with markers, and
Okay.
I took the piece with an image and I used Photoshop and I did some digital coloring and things like that. So it technically doesn't. What, hun?
I didn't say anything. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. She says, okay, sorry. I didn't know what I was hearing. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, like technically I don't need to do what I'm doing for the artwork in the book because it's digitally enhanced and colored. But I am going to be, you know, these are part of the perks. And so I want to come through the original artwork and just do, you know, some fine tuning on some of these marker pieces for that reason.
Absolutely beautiful, girl.
Thanks. So what you were listening to on was my SoundCloud. I am a stand-up comic. I've been doing comedy for a long time. And I was sitting here and I'm like, I don't really want to listen to some random stupid music. Even with my headphones on, last time I was listening to music, I got a copyright ding because they could kind of hear it. And then I was singing along. And so I'm like, you know, I
hate that.
I know. And I'm not monetized, so who cares, right? But still, I was like, you know, hey, are you doing your after midnight show?
Not tonight. I usually don't do it on Sunday nights because Michael T does a show, so I'm just kind of waiting for him to do his show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He does like a marathon thing on Sunday nights, all the way into like 10 o'clock Monday morning.
Okay. I'm a little bit of a live stream junkie, which is like my jam because it's my way. It's so cool because it gives us the opportunity of getting to know people and have friendships. And because with the way the world is now, it's like I don't get out much anyway. Like I'm a kind of a homebody. So this is perfect for me.
Right on, girlfriend. I hear you. Like I have a little one. Like she's a COVID baby.
Aw, how young? How old?
She just turned 2, but she has holes in her heart.
Aw.
So I've been kind of like really cautious about taking her out around anyone because I don't want her to catch anything, not just COVID. Like I don't even want to catch a cold because I'm like, I don't know what it could do, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, she's already. I've worked in healthcare for 32 years, so yeah, you don't even have to explain that to me, man. The minute you say that, I'm like, oh yeah. You don't. It's not like she has to be in a bubble, but by the same token, the last thing she would ever need is to be ever put at risk, ever for even just. Yeah, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, the last year has been crazy. Like we really just like kind of kept her in the house. Not really kept her in the house, but like I just don't take her out in public much, you know, around people. I just worry about kind of like I said, even the common cold. Like our first daughter, we didn't really have this issue, so I'm like kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, the nice thing, and it's not to say there's something nice about having holes in your heart, but there is a uniqueness to it for her. I remember when I had my second boy, I remember thinking, as much as 2 years sounds like a long time because my boys are 2 years apart, it really is not enough time. Like I really like the one thing, I mean, I can't really regret my past, but if I could have, I would have put more time between the two of them because in a lot of ways, I think my oldest got less attention in a way that I would have preferred to give him, but I had a baby, and so they're good now. I mean, like I have great kids. They're just that is like the only thing I remember. Like I think I'm like, I probably should have spaced them out.
Well, our two are like 5.5 years apart, and so the oldest one, she'll be 8 in October,
Mm-hmm.
and she's very imaginative, very creative, very loving little girl. And she loves being an older sister,
That's yeah, the big sister thing. Oh man, it is good. I was the middle child of 5, so I know. What was cool about it was that my younger siblings, I was like the big sister that got to experience being a big sister, even though I wasn't the oldest. So it was kind of cool. Like my oldest sister, poor thing, she got the brunt of being like the oldest, like she was in a lot of ways the mom of the family in so many ways. Because my mom, yeah, of course, any day that I'm a good mom at all is a good day. My mom left when I was 9. I didn't have a mom really. So,
Oh, bless.
yeah, everything I do for my kids is a step up from what my mom didn't do for me.
Oh,
So,
girl, I understand. 1,000%. Like, my mom was a single mom raising 3 kids. One of them wasn't even hers. So,
oh, that's so cool. I mean, it's tough and it's a challenge, but that's a better story than someone, oh, I ran out or I didn't do this or I didn't do that. Like I used to complain that I was a foster kid, but now I know that like a lot of my personality and character and things about me that I love about myself are because of that. They're because of that challenge I had. So
it's awesome that you can embrace that, though.
it took a long time. It definitely, girl, that did not happen overnight. That is for sure.
You
Definitely.
are preaching to the choir. I'm the oldest of 3, and like there's 8 years between me and the second one,
Right.
and like 12.5 years between me and the third one. And
Okay.
so I was kind of like the mom figure in our house because my mom was a single mom working like 6 jobs.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, she was always working, or if she wasn't working, she was chasing men and partying. So,
Oh, I know that type.
yeah,
I did that. I mean, I not so much after I had kids, but I definitely did the chasing men and partying thing. I've had my fill. No judgment to anyone who lives that life. You do you, boo. I will high five you.
I grew up with a mom that way, and my mom's very narcissistic too. So, and bipolar, so she has like mental issues as well. So, it was a very interesting upbringing, a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
And so I really try to raise my girls in a stable environment where they have, both parents, they're loving but yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge with 2. Like,
Oh my God. And you probably would have been just like that even without having had your mom, but I bet you it's one of those things where having the mom you had a lot to do with why you're probably so much more focused on it than you probably would have been otherwise. Like, that's how I look at what I've done. Like I go, yeah. It also, I don't know if this is true for you, but it helps me stay grateful.
amen, sister.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
I try to stay humble, and I try to stay
Critical
focused.
blast. RJ, you can come in and say hi. I've got the link in the comments, RJ. RJ's here. Woohoo.
RJ's awesome. Love RJ.
Yeah, I hopped on his show earlier tonight. I've literally been nonstop. I slept in. I super slept in, which was rad. But as soon as after I got up, I produced. I do a show on Sundays called Spotlighting. It's called Spotlights with Dory. And the guy I got, it was so rad. The man that I interviewed tonight he's a comedian, but he's also a hip hop musician. And he's just a genius. He's a creative genius, and I got the pleasure of interviewing him. So I prepped for that, got finished with that, created a few things, and then I decided to come on. So yeah, I've been nonstop.
Oh, girl, I've been keeping an eye on what you've been doing. Like, I saw you with Matt Barr yesterday and Red Valkyrie last night.
He was amazing. I got to paint alongside Matt Barr yesterday. That's so cool.
He's awesome. I love Matt. He's a great soul.
Yes. Yeah, that was amazing. Like he was so gracious. I don't want to say never, but I was late for him yesterday morning and I was so embarrassed. I wanted to throw up. I was so embarrassed. And he was so gracious about it. He was all Mr. Cool, calm, and sweet, and he didn't like yell at me or get mad. And I'm like, thank you so much, because I feel like a shit right now.
And I think most people around here understand that, like, we all have real lives, and real life can sometimes intervene.
Yeah, well, me getting up on a Saturday at 7 a.m. is kind of crazy anyway, but yeah. But I started it at that time because it suited one of the masters that I had on the show. And I'm like, this is kind of cool because it makes me get up. It makes me get the fuck out of bed and get moving with my day. And I actually kind of dig it. Like, yeah, I was late today, but now I'm like, man, my Saturdays feel so much more productive having gotten up that early, been up at it, and already getting to create alongside a master of their craft. And what's really cool that every single master I've had on that show, they all say the same thing. Oh, it feels weird being called a master. I don't understand what you mean. And I'm like, dude. His willingness to share his wisdom is what makes him a master. That's what I told him. I'm like, yeah. He's another one he told me I need to go big on my canvas paintings and try to get into bigger canvases. And I just might do that. Of course, money is going to be a factor, but I'm open to the idea. I'm open to it.
He always has a ton of ideas. Like, he's the idea man. He's always got something he's popping off with. That's what I love about Matt. Like, he's always just awesome about shit.
Right. Well, and that's good because if you have an idea, like I'm learning this, okay, I definitely will own the fact that I'm not a big person on collaborating. I've never really done it. And I mean, some of it is because I've never really found anyone that I'd want to collaborate with, but that's not because that's just because I wasn't really looking. There's tons of people that I would collaborate with that I know now, but that's just because I'm in this world now. But yeah, Matt's an example of someone I could totally see entrusting with something that I'm conceiving artistically wise. Cause I'm not a sequential artist on any level. And some of them that do that just blow my mind that they can do that. It's just, yeah. As good as any of my paintings are, I look at their work and I'm like, I just can't. I just don't know, man. My brain doesn't work like that.
I feel you. I'm not an artist by any means. I just, I'm crafty, but I'm not an artist, so.
Yeah. So a lot of the guys on your show are art guys are from the art world. How did you get started with your show? What brought that on?
I've been around Comicscape for the last 5 years, I think, since 2017.
Yeah.
So I kind of met people, throughout as I've been around.
Nice. Okay.
My husband's also a creator, so.
Oh, good. That's not that. That's important. It's funny. Maybe you can give me some wisdom here. Like before this year, before 2021, I had never dated a creative. I had never dated a creator. I'd always dated like blue collar workers, like guys that worked with their hands, electricians and plumbers and that type. And this year I dated two creators back to back. And they pretty much turned me off from the idea of dating anyone in the creative world. they're bullshit. No offense to your husband. And what's funny, I'm laughing as I say it because I am an artist. Like, I am an artist, and I'm kind of done with the artist. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, artist, man. I don't want any part of y'all. Y'all crazy. Fuck you guys, man. Fuck you guys. I don't even understand. God, and it was like, Lola, it was like both of them expected me to be their fan as opposed to a partner or a fellow creator. And I remember even with one of them, I said that. I said, I'm not looking for a fan. I don't need a fan, and I'm not going to be your fan. I'm the Amazon beauty, by the way.
There you go.
Right? Like, I'm sitting there going, I'm like, you got the wrong girl. I mean, I don't know who you think you're dating, but that's just not me. But
They wanted a groupie, not a woman.
that man, like, I'm like, is that what they're used to? Is that what is that their deal? Because if that's the deal, they came to the wrong chick, man.
Probably. I'm gonna say they probably are used to people simping after them.
You think? Probably. Yeah.
My husband didn't start out as a creator though. We've been together 16 years, so.
Oh wow, that's so rad.
It was only about, I think, like maybe 2-3 years ago, he decided to make his own comic.
Nice. Isn't that cool? Like, I never really put my head in the world of thinking I would do a comic per se, until when I started this year out. I had it's kind of funny. The 3 books I've published were not even the book I had on my plate to-do list when I started the year out. When I started the year out, I was starting the year out with the book I'm currently working on. The haiku series came out of nowhere. The Magic Man book I did with the audio, with the music album. This is the first music spoken word poetry one I've done. That all came out of nowhere. They were not what I planned. They were not planned at all.
Now, did you crowdfund that one?
Which one, honey? No.
The spoken word, did you crowdfund that, or was it just?
I just did it.
Self-publishing?
I haven't. This haiku series is the first one that I've ever put on a crowdfunding, and part of it had, like, honestly, it was my. Let me think about this. I have nine published publications, or it might be 8, and I'm working on 9. You've done this a while or been doing it a while when you start questioning how many things you've published. So the normal me would just put it on my Amazon, move on to the next project, and call it a day. That's what I would normally do. But by the time I got done with the haiku series, I had been very much immersed into the world of comic books. I had started my comedy webtoons. I was getting to know people, and I was talking with people. And then I finally started doing something I said I would never do, which was I started dabbling with digital art. And I had never really done that before. I was a purist who said if it wasn't on paper like what you see me doing right now, then it wasn't art. But like, my head was in that judgmental space. And then I get into, so when I put this haiku series together and I digitally worked on some of these pieces digitally, it kind of, my brain clicked. Like, whatever was forcing me or making me judgmental about it went away. It just went away. And so it opened my mind to the whole idea. And so now the big drive behind crowdfunding this campaign is to fund a digital device for myself. That's really the primary focus. If I make any money other than that, that would just be an extra. But I mostly want to just be able to provide the product of whatever someone backs. I want to be able to give them that, and I want to be able to get a device. That's it. That's pretty much my goal. That's it.
Right on. I hear that.
So anything more or less will be a plus. It'll be like an extra, which is nice. So but yeah, like so far so good, you know, like I'm not really shocked that someone wanted the olive painting. It's really nice to know that she's going to go to a forever home. She's one of my pieces I did this year on canvas, and I'm going to make her the cover of volume 2. So yeah.
That's
You're
awesome.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate the encouragement from everyone. I really do. It's important.
I love like just being around creative people. It's one of the reasons I love Shay so much is because she's so creative.
Oh yeah. Totally. Like
Um,
she has been such a huge help with this whole process, like looking over my campaign before it was public, helping me with, you know, I've never designed a patch before. Like I know what I would want kind of thing when I'd look at a patch, but I don't know what's gonna work. And I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. That's actually talking with her and going over the designs for the patch is what opened my mind to the idea of collaborating actually. um if another creative person were like her when I sat down to collaborate with them, I could collaborate all day long, man. You know, like that, I could do that. I could totally do that because
Shay
she's
definitely has that effect. She's awesome. I love that girl.
for sure because she does, and I love like and I don't think she'd mind me saying this because I told her, you know, she will give you the straight from, you know, straight answer. Like she's not going to sugarcoat it because I definitely appreciate that. I don't need anything sugar coated because that's just blowing smoke up my ass. I don't want to hear that. I got no time for that. I want to be better than what I am. The only thing I can do is try to be better than what I already am. And I know I know I'm pretty good the way I am, but there's always room for improvement for sure.
And you said you just got into the digital art as well. So I mean that's always
Yeah,
a
that's
big challenge to like wrap your brain around like going from traditional straight to digital.
yeah, I'm, you know, like the norm for me is to take a blank piece of paper or a blank canvas and just go. You know, like sometimes I might have a plan, sometimes I might use a frame of reference or a photograph or an image in a book or something, but I'm not I'm not going to copy anything. I don't like doing work that someone else has already done. Like I said this on RJ's show earlier. It wouldn't occur to me, Lola, to wake up tomorrow and say, "Oh, you know, I want to do a Superman."
Right?
My brain does not work like that. Like that's just not appealing to me. I'm sure it appeals, and I got no judgment for any artist out there that does their art that way. It's not my jam. But you give me a blank canvas and some watercolors, oh hell yeah, we're going with this. You know, like
Well, like
I
that's
get
part of
excited.
being creative though, right? Is like coming up with your own ideas and finding your own like style of things and
Oh yeah, and that's so me. Like I when I started this series is pretty funny. So I had transitioned to canvas a long time ago, years ago, and so I start working on paper to illustrate this series, right? I'm like, it made me have a meltdown. Like I had a complete meltdown. Like I couldn't stand it because not well. I was loving it. It was kind of this weird, very weird dual feeling of hate and love because I was loving what was coming out of me creatively. But this whole being on paper thing again, I got away from paper because I love the freedom of a canvas. I love the freedom of it. It's bigger, it's a much bigger space. I can do much bigger pieces. I can get way all over the place, right? But then I'm doing this on paper. And what had to happen, and it was just this natural progression. So I'm live painting one night, and I think I told Shay this on when I was on the launch. I said I started crying while I was live because I was so emotional. I was painting a haiku that was pretty emotional, and I had just had um, a breakup, and so I was super emotional. And the
oh
haiku
boy.
the haiku was about some of that. So it wasn't all about the art, but I had this overwhelming sense that nothing I was doing was any good. None of this was all right. Nothing was going to be okay. And the next day when I went to paint again, or I went to create again, I didn't grab the watercolors. It came, and I tell you, Lola, there was no plan for this. I literally did not plan this. Instead of grabbing my paint brushes and my watercolors, my hands went to the charcoal pencils I have next to my bed. And charcoal was my first medium way back when. And I did a piece with charcoal, and I'll show it to you while you're here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's so I get these charcoal pencils out, and I'm like, okay, and again, I didn't plan this. I did not plan it. So I get the charcoal pencils out, and I do this.
Oh wow.
And it was as if I got back. It was as if I put on an old pair of jeans I had worn a million times. It was as if I got back with a lover I had been with for 20 years, and I knew how their body worked. It was that healing, I guess, healing is the best word for it, because I went from this meltdown, insecure, crazed feeling about my art to all of my confidence coming back just by working with charcoal one night. And it's because that's what like my body, my brain, my hands, it just needed to get back to the basics, I guess is the way to put it. And so that's what I did.
It's crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I was fine after that. After that, I was able to, whether it was paint or marker or charcoal, whatever it was, the confidence came back. Working on paper, I used to only work on paper before I went to canvas. And so I had to kind of relearn some of my skills or techniques I used to use when I was on paper. And then I was fine. And I also got some canvas out, and I have given over the course of the couple months it took. I think I did from start to finish. I want to say maybe it took about a month to illustrate the haiku book. I think maybe. I could be wrong. But when I got all said and done, during that course of time, I did finish a few canvas pieces, one of which was the one I mentioned, that olive one that was sold during the launch. That was so rad to see that sell during the launch. That was amazing. I'm like, yes, someone likes my painting. And it's funny, like I know this, I want people to want the book too, but it was nice to see that the painting went, that the original art went. I'm like, yep, there you go. If I needed any kind of feeling of, like my head wants to say I should be able to just reassure myself that I'm a good artist, but the reality is having someone buy your art, that is what really made me like, whoa, okay, I guess I am good. I guess I do actually know how to paint.
Well, I think right now people are hungry for it. You know what I mean? People are hungry for the creative, and they're hungry for imagination, and they're hungry for something different, something new. Because like right now, all these like companies, they want to just like they want to recycle old ideas and just like make them worse.
Having an old idea is not an issue. It's really not the problem, because I think that there's things that are timeless, but the problem for me is when they try to change it to suit whatever they think it needs to suit. And that's where I go, that's so unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why the formula for Twinkies did not change for decades. Okay? There's a reason the Twinkie worked. Now the Twinkie kind of sucks.
Right?
And that to me, the Twinkie metaphor, it works for everything that they want to change about the way that things used to be done. And the Twinkie metaphor makes perfect sense to me, because they do, they change they say supposedly that it's the same recipe. I'm not convinced. I've had the new Twinkie. To me, it's just not the same.
Well, my biggest thing is like, okay, if you want to take old characters and change them and, race and gender swap them or whatever, do it, but do it in a way that's interesting. Don't give me the same storyline that they've already been in and like try to tell me it's something new.
Yeah, I don't understand some of the why they feel that they even need to do that. It just, to me, that's honestly one of the reasons why I balk at the idea of doing sequential art. And I know that they're not the same thing. I just don't like the idea of doing something the next day. Yeah, it's a different story. Maybe it's a different timeline, whatever. As an artist, I have no interest in it. I was telling, I may have said this during the launch. I definitely want to do the comic book that I have in mind for the Amazon Beauty. She's a comedic, sexually liberated woman who's trying to date it in, later in life after having a lot of disappointments. And it's funny, it's sad. There's a bunch of spirituality to it, but at the same token, I can't stand the idea of drawing that myself. Yeah, I don't, like, if I find the right artist that would be willing to partner on it with me, a sequential artist who'd be willing to do that, we're down. I'm down. I've got 15 years of comedic material and comedy and spirituality and romance and all that stuff in me. I've got all the writing in me. But as good as I might feel like I am as an artist, even if I could learn, it was RJ's show today. I said, you know what? I could totally learn how to do it. I know I could. But do I want to? No. No. I got no interest in learning how to do the kind of artwork it would take to do that piece.
Well, you come to a really good community full of people who are good and fast. Some of them are really fast at doing that kind of work.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things too. Like, you can collaborate with someone and like convey your ideas, and they can put it down maybe in a way that you didn't realize it could put down.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the idea of the artist having the freedom to do that, like, one, I can't afford to pay an artist, and I wouldn't even if I could, because I really do believe that the project is I think it could be totally something that people would want enough to warrant an artist wanting to be a co-partner. Like, you will co-partner with me is what I get at, is what I have in mind. Yeah. And what I mean, the Amazon Beauty is me, sure, but does it have to look like me? Does it have to be my age? No. I mean, some of the jokes wouldn't make sense if it's a younger girl, but if they want to create what she looks like as a persona that's not necessarily physically exactly me, I'm down. I'd be open to that.
Like, as long as you're not using her uterus as a superpower.
No.
Well,
the yoni, it's funny you say that, because the yoni, which is what we're talking about, is a superpower. I mean,
did you say one night on my show that you were into like tantric and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I brought up the yoni. Was that during the launch that I brought up the yoni? When did I bring up the yoni? So yes, in Tantra, the reality is simple. Women and men will never be equal because women surpass men. We are far more divine in the spiritual. If there was a hierarchy of any kind of hierarchy in terms of gender, the woman is senior to the man. We create, we give birth. That's what we do. If that makes sense. So
we have a bit of a different working part that gives us a bit more of a power, I guess you could call it. I don't know what else to call it, but I think a lot of women have lost that. They've lost the idea that there's power there.
Well, and unfortunately, society's programming about shame is part of that, because the truest definition of a feminist is a woman who's going to know that about her and embrace it and be okay with it and be unapologetic about it. That is true feminism. I will not allow anyone to make me feel shameful of being a sexual being. That's not gonna, you're not, good luck. You know, I got no apologies to anyone who wants to try to come at me, because my stand-up comedy gets people real up in arms. I've been unfriended and blocked. I've been called all kinds of things. And I'm like, yeah, you're clearly missing the point. Because I'm the exact opposite of what people assume of me. I won't talk bad about a woman. You're not going to hear me disparage her. I'm not throwing stones at her. I'm not going to shame her. And the same is true for men. I got no interest in doing. I will make fun of them. You fucking bet I'll make fun of them. And it's mostly tongue-in-cheek fun, and it's just me making fun of what the reality, what's the stereotype. It's, you know, that saying, it's funny because it's true.
Right.
You know, people get mad at stand-up, or they get mad at what people say comedic wise, and I'm laughing because I'm like, why does that bother you? Probably because it's true to you.
That's usually a sense of guilt.
Yep.
If it's bothering you, it's because you're guilty of it. So
yeah, exactly. Most people that get really super offended at something, usually it's true of them.
I take everything with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Like
100%. You got to get a sense of humor, man. I went to perform. So I performed on stage earlier this year for the first time in 13 years or something like that. And I'm talking via email to this guy who's like the MC runner of the whole open mic amateur thing. And I say to him, I'm like, you know, I actually asked about something that was unrelated to the material that you could say on stage. And he comes back with giving me this thing about, you know, trying to not use a lot of profanity or graphic sexual jokes or whatever. And I'm like, okay. But then he makes the comment, he goes, not that, and he goes, we all know that stuff's not funny, like that in the email. And I go, this guy is clearly under the age of 30. Because
right? I'm 34 and I find that stuff funny.
Well, in stand-up, exactly, totally. And if you're a stand-up comic and if you were not around when Andrew Dice Clay was on stage, or Eddie Murphy was on stage, or Richard Pryor was on stage, I'm sitting there going, what do you mean sexual jokes aren't funny? What do you mean the F word's not funny? Because you obviously have not been paying attention to stand-up comedy, not as a historical industry. Okay, I'm sorry. It's fucking Margaret Cho. Have you ever heard? I mean, come on, the graphic nature. So this guy, whoever this guy thinks he is, I was laughing at it. I was like, you have totally missed the mark if you think that using the F word or now I will agree, a comic should not rely on the F word to get the laugh. I agree with that. If you're only getting a laugh because you say the F word in a certain way in a certain place of your joke, then yeah, you're just being lazy. You're just being comedically lazy, you know? But
yeah, it's 2021, so I've got to ask, which F word are we talking about?
Fuck. The word fuck, yeah. And it's funny, I don't even know why I'm trying to watch my language. It's my stream. I'm not monetized. I don't give two fucks about my language. But yeah. It's just kind of funny to me that anyone thinks like, well, this one guy, and I laughed because I get there, right? I get to the place and I'm telling one of my friends that was with me, I tell her, I said, don't think I'm not doing my blowjob joke. And she's like, what the fuck? And I go, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna tell it. I was going to tell it on purpose because of what this guy had said. And then, of course, I get up there. I hadn't done stand-up in 13 years, and it was only a 3-minute set, and I forget to tell that joke. And then I get off stage, and I tell my friend, I'm like, I forgot the damn blowjob joke. And she goes, yeah, forgetting the blowjob is not like you. And I fucking died. I'm like, she's not even the comic, right? She's just there with the comic, but she knows me well enough to know. And she just fucking made me laugh. She made me die. I couldn't stop laughing because that was so true. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Who am I? Like,
Do you find it amazing that in 2021 that like we're like sex is still this big mystery between men and women, and like I don't know if this has happened to you, but it happens to me all the time. Like I have females that come to me and they like have no clue about their body. I'm like, how do you not understand your body yet? Like you're 26.
Well, that's kind of some of what I do with my persona Diva Doris. So in a whole separate world, separate from my art and separate from comedy and poetry, I do these diva talks, and I've written a diva meditation book, and it's specifically unofficially a way for me to mentor to women and men who have been sexually abused and traumatized.
Right on. I can do
Some sexual ignorance comes from shame. So they, depending on what they were told, we call this in the Tantra world, or in the world of sexual liberation, we call that we call it societal programming. A lot of people are hung up by the programming of society. This unspoken culture that's driven by the societal attitude about things will affect a person's willingness to be free with themselves, touch themselves, learn this or that about themselves, avoid sex, all of it, for all kinds of reasons. And the number one thing I will tell you that I have to do as Diva Dory, so when these women come to you, the number one thing I have to do is hold what's called safe space for them. And I know that that's a term that bugs some people in this world, but the reality is simple. I need to tell them, you're okay, you're normal, it's all right, but you can be different. You can totally be different. You can love your body different. You can become sexually free. You can become whatever you want to become. You want to sleep around, you want to sleep with multiple men, high five, you do you, boo. And no apologies, man.
Right on, girl. I'm with you on that one.
That's so weird. My Twitch said it disconnected. Probably because we were talking about sex. No, I'm just kidding.
It's funny.
Or it could be my Wi-Fi. But yeah, so like that's usually the first thing, is I reassure them that what they're thinking or feeling is okay. And then we go from there. Now, I've had a few occasions where they don't want to think any different. They want to stay right where they are with the belief and system they have, and I can't help them. I can't help those people.
Well, I always give a disclaimer to people. Like, I grew up in a house where my mom was very open about her sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very comfortable with her body. Like, my mom would walk around naked like it was nothing. And
right.
So, we talked about it like it was nothing, you know?
Exactly.
And so, like, and my mom would make jokes and make comments, crude comments, you know? And so, like, I've never had a problem discussing sex or understanding my body or any of that. So, like, when I have women that are just, like, they don't understand their periods or they don't understand sex, it's like, oh, my God, what the hell was your mother teaching you?
Nothing. That's just it. They probably got taught nothing.
Exactly. And I'm like, I try to be a different, I guess, type of mother when it comes to my own girls. Like, when they hit the puberty and stuff, I want them to understand it's okay. It's normal.
Right? Oh, I don't. Yeah. I have sons, and I couldn't have asked for a better father. Their dad is just the best dad on the planet. You know,
God
but
has a sense of humor. I just want to point that out. God has a sense of humor.
Oh, 100%. There's a I don't remember who said it, and you could probably look it up online, but the quote goes, God is a comedian playing to an audience that doesn't want to laugh.
Exactly. Oh my God, girl, that hits the nail on the head right there. It's yeah.
And
yeah, he looked at me, he was like, I'm giving you girls, and you're gonna have fun with this one.
Right? And I truly believe that in a lot of ways, I'm like, challenge accepted, man. I think it's a lot of why I became a comic is I'm like, you know what? This real world shit fucking sucks, man. Real world sucks. The real world is shit. And I started making fun of the real world a long time ago. And that's the thing. I will find humor in the most fucked up ways that other people, they go, that is not funny. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is actually, but okay,
Oh my
whatever.
God, Dory, do you laugh at funerals?
I don't laugh at a funeral, but if I'm at the funeral and someone tells a joke, I'm gonna laugh. I'm Irish. Okay. That's kind of an unfair question because I'm Irish, and now granted, I've never been to like a big old Irish throwdown shindig thing, but I am the first person that will tell you when I die, do not even be standing around in a room with a bunch of people crying a river about me being dead. No, I want you to kick it back. I want you to party, crank up some Eminem, put some freaking Tupac on, and fucking just go, man. Whatever you do, celebrate my death. I want my death celebrated. Okay,
Right
have a
on. That's how
orgy gangbang. I really don't care. Just do not even stand around and act all sad. I'm dead. I'm not here. Oh, and buy my art.
I've literally got 2 orders when I die. Like, my phone has to be burned.
Don't let anyone go through my phone.
And there has to be a party. It can't be like a sad wait type thing. Like, I want everyone to just have fun and throw a party, and like, I want people to be drinking and to be merry and to remember me as someone who is giving and loving and that just love life. And
yep. Well, were you on the launch part when I talked about Black Husher? The rap guy, the one who died. I was wearing his shirt. Were you there for that part?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I might have dipped out.
What they did locally here for him in San Diego is we did a concert. They did a concert. That's awesome. That was his tribute. You know, there was, I mean, yeah, I think on the East Coast there may have been an actual formal like ceremony because he was from Massachusetts, but no, here we did this huge concert thing at Queen Bee's, this local venue here in San Diego. And because that's exactly what he would have said. Van would have been like, you guys better be partying and play my album while you're doing it. Like, that's what he would have said. That's how he would have been about it. You know?
Well, I'm just like, you know what? If I'm gone, when I'm gone, like, I've lived a good life. All of this shit that I have here on earth, it's not going with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mourn me because I'm probably in a better place. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully I'm in a better place. Well, yeah, I'm on a beach in the Caribbean, like drinking a drink with a umbrella in it.
Aw. Yeah, I don't really know what there is after this. All I know is that I try to live as if this is my heaven. I try to live as if this is it. You know, because I think that I've met far too many people that are so concerned about where they're going to go after they die that they forget to live.
Well, I'm literally like, I'm from the South, right? So like we grow up on cupcakes and Jesus.
I'm from Louisiana.
So you get it. You understand what I'm saying when I say that.
100% get it.
So like, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's after this life. But you know what? Don't mourn me. Celebrate me. Celebrate what I've done here on earth. Like, I try to be a good person, as good as I can be, and I try to do right by people.
Hey, Pops. Dory and Lola. Oh, shit. Look, Lola, Pops. The link to come in to say hi to us, Pops, is in comments. If you want to come in the studio, you can. Come on in and say, look at this. I just got drops of paint on my fucking painting. It's okay.
Oh, you can't even tell, though. You can't even tell, girl.
No, I'm going to leave them right where they are. Bob Ross would say that's a happy mistake. I'm going to let them dry, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with them. They'll become part of the painting. So that
It's looking really good. Like, I love it. It's really pretty.
Thank you. So the haiku that goes with this. So this is an example of the haiku story pages that I have. So that it's 3, each page is, the layout is different. I didn't use the same layout for every page, but I used the 3 different lines of the haiku to illustrate an art piece. And so this one is one of the few pages where there's Pops. Hold on. Let me let him in. Hiya, Pops.
Hi, Pops.
Are you dressed? He has his camera on. Are you like indisposed? Oh, there he is.
Night. All the kids are sleeping. Everybody's sleeping. I gotta be real quiet. I just wanted to say hi real quick.
Well, hello. Yes, Lola. We're having talks about motherhood and the yoni and sex, and yeah, it's an interesting stream. So I was explaining to Lola, this is one of the story pages of the haiku, and so what I'm doing is I'm going back through a few of these, and I'm just doing some touch-up work.
What are you showing us, Pops?
I got my own.
Yeah, show Lola the one you have, Pops. So I sent him because he inspired this whole thing one day on a stream when, just out of the blue. And all he said was, why don't you illustrate your poetry? And famous last words, Lola, I sit down with the poetry collection I was working on and I go, oh, okay, well, let me start with the haikus. And get this, I go, let me start with the haikus because they're easy. 20 pieces of art later and an entire book out of it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty funny.
I love it. I love it though, because like creative minds are coming together and they're creating something wonderful. I love it.
She took what I said to a whole different level though. She broke her haikus down into 3-panel pages, like each panel for each line of the haiku. She took what I said and just totally took it to another level though. I just want everybody to know that's all out of her. I was just like, hey, why don't you try it?
But that's important because I don't know that. I mean, I had already had it in my head that I was going to illustrate my children's book, but I hadn't, that's what I needed. It was like I needed someone else to open the door for me. And like Lola and I, before you came in, Pops, we were talking about collaboration. And that's one of the reasons why I'm warming up to the idea of collaborating more with other creators, because that's exactly what that was. Did you and I sit down with the intention of collaborating? No, but it was exactly the benefit.
That's the whole purpose of the madness, though, too, is networking and promotion. And a lot of collaborations have come out of the madness. That's what I try to do. I mean, you've 100%. Seen during the con how as one guest is leaving, I'll bring the next guest in so they can meet.
Right.
Just in case they don't know each other. I try to make sure everybody gets to know each other. It's all about networking. It's all about having a good time. And now it's 1 o'clock in the morning or something. My ass going to bed, but I wanted to say hi.
Holy shit! What are you even doing awake, man? It's funny though. I have 1:30 is my time for you tomorrow, right? I'm assuming you'll send me the link tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, something like that. Oh God, I got tomorrow.
I'm gonna be on. Pops, I don't know what you're doing at noon. Wait, 3 o'clock your time, right? Eastern time? You're 3 hours ahead of me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be on Arya's show at noon. And you know what he did? Did you see what he did?
No.
Oh my God. He put it on his Twitter for everyone to give them, the guys on that show, a prompt for a word. And they're all writing a haiku.
I saw that.
Did you know that? I was Yeah. So tomorrow they're going to release and they're going to share the haikus they wrote. Get that out. Get that. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to have to take all those haikus and do a special edition series of artwork to their haikus.
I love it that you can take words and put them on paper as pictures. You know what I mean? Like you're taking the haikus and you're making art out of them. That's different.
So this one you're looking at is
cool about it.
This particular piece is
what I said, like, made it way cooler than what I thought about. I was just like, draw a picture and put your poem on it. Basically, that was what I was thinking, because she already does art. So it's like, yeah, just illustrate your poem. Next level, turn it into comic panels with the line representing each part of the haiku. I was blown away by that, But
in my trailer video where it has the poem called with the black girl, it's called "Ignore Me No More," and that's what you're looking at right here. So there's a woman's hand saying stop. I don't know if you can see it, but the hand goes over all three pieces. Okay, and the top part, which is for the line "Ignore Me No More," is just kind of an eye peeking out over a city. And then the middle line is about forever, I'll be gone forever, or forever gone I'll be, or something. And it's a woman opening doors here. She's in the center and she's opening two doors to leave. And then the end, of course, is a stop sign over a heart. And then the death. I can't remember, the last part is about not caring anymore. Yeah, the last line is about not caring anymore. Okay. So there's graves and there's the heart with a stop sign over it, or no symbol. So yeah, this is the 3-page. Yeah, and that's gonna be fun too. Like I just thought of that as we've been talking. I'm like, I probably should do maybe like a poetry reading of the haikus during the campaign and explain some of the pages.
Give it all away.
But you don't want to give it all away.
You were just saying
no, I don't want to give it all away.
Giving everything away, so you just cut it out. All right, I'm gonna go. I love you guys.
Love you. See you tomorrow.
It's good seeing you.
It's good seeing you too. I was surprised to see you guys out here on stream together. I was like, oh shit.
I'm usually on her stream. She wasn't live, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna pick that. It's fine.
Well, it comes out too late. I'm always in bed by the time she comes out, man.
Yeah,
she's your streams live. I'm always like trying to watch a replay at 6 in the morning.
All the good stuff happens after midnight. So
yeah, I know, but you guys West Coast. It's after midnight here already. See?
Oh no, I'm Central. I'm Central time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm West Coast for sure. Yeah. Well, sleep well, darling.
All right, y'all have a good night. Peace.
Night,
Pops. I love Pops. He's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I was gonna ask you, like, do you think that once you get to a point in your life where you just don't care what others think or feel about you, that you've reached like an elevation though? Like you've reached an elevation in adulthood and humankind?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know, you're maybe too young to know exactly who she is, but do you know who Helen Mirren is?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, so Helen Mirren, one of my favorite quotes from Helen Mirren is she goes, if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be to tell people to fuck off more. And I just love that quote. I love that quote because, here's just, you get to define you. So this is kind of goes over to not just artwork, but me as a person and my personality or my character. I am the writer of my story. I'm the writer of my life. I am my Webster's. Okay. Like that's me. I get to define me. Nobody gets to define me, which was, that's so
right on.
That did not come right away. I was gifted with a unique ability to get to that faster, I think, than other people, partially because I was a foster kid who I aged out after high school and was released to the world by the state of Louisiana as I was a ward of the state and went from being a ward of the state to being on my own and sent out into the world to survive. And that you know, there was no spoon feeding, there was no silver spoon in my fucking mouth. And
Right.
from day one, you know, that was just me. And that set me up for learning real fast how to have a spine, how to be an alpha. I hate the fucking word, really. I'm not an alpha. If you look up the definition of alpha versus beta, I'm not an alpha. I am just not. But the world and the circumstances of my life financially put me in a position to have to be. And I just had to embrace it. I had to embrace being an alpha. I had no other choice, really.
Right on, girl. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Would I rather be sitting back and raising kids and cooking meals and walking around barefoot and pregnant? You fucking bet. That's exactly what I would rather be doing.
No.
I'd still be doing artwork. I'd still want my studio. I'd be like, I have to add that to the sentence. Sorry. I need to add that to the end of my sentence. Cause no matter what, I'd want my art studio. It's like, oh, okay, I'll do that, but I want my art studio.
Like, I love being a mom, don't get me wrong, but I don't think us becoming mothers changes us as women. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take away our womanhood and the fact that we're females and feminine. No. And I think a lot of people lose that along the way when they become mothers. Like, a lot of people forget that we're still, like you said earlier, sexual beings, and we're still females and we're still feminine. And like I said, I love being a mother. I love my children, but 2 is my limit. I'm like, no more.
Oh, same for me. 2 is my limit. I probably. Do I have enough love and do I have enough energy to do more than that? You bet. I want to actually, like, the one thing I want to do other than art and create and write, I want to write as many books as I can and create as many pieces of art as I can before I die. And I want to be whatever I can do to help my sons have a better footing in life than what I had. I want to do that. I want to do those things. But other than that, the one thing I would love to do is I'd love to be a foster parent. I won't do it alone, though. I won't do it by myself. And I haven't met a man yet. Who's got the right temperament and reliability and wherewithal or whatever to be a co-parent with me. I haven't met that man.
Well, I look at my daughters and I think, I could do 10 more of these, right? But then I think about it and I'm like, no, I'm, having a baby at 32 versus 26 is a completely different ballgame.
That's a good point. I had my kids at 32 and 34, sweetheart.
I commend the women that have the energy and the gumption for it. Cause like my first one, she was easy, right? Like she slept and she was a quiet one. Like I could sit her down with toys and she'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
My other one, my second one. She is all over the place. Like my second one is like me now. She has my mentality now. She's just like, a bull in a china shop and she's going to go head straight for it and she's going to do it. Like she will look you in the eye when you tell her to stop and keep going.
I had my youngest was the one who was like super chill. You couldn't get him to even like cry really. He was so chill, so kicked back. As long as he was fed, he didn't give no fucks given. He's such a chill child. My oldest one was still pretty chill, but he's so smart, man. He's so smart. His brain was never stopped. Like he was always going. He was always asking questions. Such an inquisitive kid.
See, that's the part of it I love. I love that part of parenting. Like, as far as like my oldest daughter goes,
right?
Like, I love that she's so inquisitive about the world around her and she wants to explore everything. And I try to encourage like that and her creativity.
Yeah.
But if my first one had been like my second one, I would have stopped with the first one.
I love your honesty, man. And I do. I love the honesty. It's so true, though, man. It's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, but
I really would have, because like my second one, she's as soon as she learned to walk, it's like she's all over the place. She's back and forth. She doesn't want to sit down. She talks nonstop, and it's just like, I need subtitles for you. I don't understand what you're saying.
oh, that's funny. Subtitles.
Like, unfortunately, you don't come with subtitles, child. I can't help you right now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like, I know that I absolutely would love, really would love to be a foster parent and be able to give back in that way. But I also don't ever want to deal with a car seat again. I could see myself wanting to be like a foster mom of like the kids that are, you know, still in, you know, older than a toddler, younger than a teenager, you know, although teenagers and I'm down, and they can give me the toughest, baddest ass teenager they want. I'd be willing to take a stab at it, because I was a teenager when I went into foster care. So
I love teenagers. I love it. We homeschool.
oh, nice. Okay.
And so we have like a huge homeschool group where we live. And one of the things we do is we all get together, like all the families, and we do different classes and stuff. And there was a lot of stuff for the littler kids, but there wasn't really a lot of stuff happening for the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And so I took on doing groups for the bigger kids so that like they would have like access to comic books and
That's so cool.
what else did we do? I did like a book club for them. So like I like the older kids. The older kids tend to have more creative minds, and they tend to think about things like on a more adult level, but yet they're not adult. So some of the stuff is kind of hilarious.
Right.
And of course, they're still trying to figure out their identities and like their sexualities. And so like you end up hearing about all the like drama between the boys and the girls.
Oh my God, there's always drama.
Yes. When there's a girl involved, there's always drama.
Well, you know, when I have worked with some youngsters before, one of the first things I always kind of remind myself of is that the human brain is not fully functionally, rationally developed until we're 25, somewhere between 24 and 25. So a lot of what I see, and I've gotten the honor of mentoring a few youngsters that are in their late teens, early 20s. And one of the first things I reassure them is I'm like, you may not want to believe this, but your brain isn't done. Your brain's not done cooking. It's not. So to try to base a decision that you're trying to make today using a brain that hasn't even been fully developed is really, that's an exercise of futility for some people. I'm like, you need to just give yourself a break. You're not even done cooking. You know, your brain isn't even fully developed yet. And some youngsters are open to that, and they're like, oh, they're like reassured by it. And then there's other kids, other youngsters that think that they know everything, and they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that at all. But it's the reality. It's the truth.
Well, it's so funny because like everything is the end of the world to them, right? So like if they have an opinion on say we read a book and they had an opinion and like another kid disagreed with them, it was the end of the world, and it would be like drawn out. And I want to point out, I say this as a mother to two girls, and so I'm just going to say girls are way more dramatic than boys when it comes to everything.
I think that's true. I would agree. We think on a different planetary, like we totally think on a different level. Like we come from, actually, part of it is because we think more than men. When, you know, what's that infamous thing, you know, when you ask a guy what he's thinking, trust me, he's probably not. Okay. So why are you asking? He's
Thinking
probably
about how he's gonna get into your pants. That's all men think about. Come on.
that's pretty much it. Like there's not I mean, I've met some really cerebral men that their minds won't shut up and they're thinking about tons of stuff. There are guys out there that can't, you know, like they are thinking. But the majority, they're not thinking about shit.
They're thinking about how to get in the pants and what they're gonna eat.
Well, and you know what? I've gotten to take a really appreciative look at that because you know what really else is there to care about, Lola? Like why am I mean, I've been able to calm myself down into a state of reasonableness by reminding myself that I should just think like a man and just sit back and understand that, you know what, am I fed? Yes. Okay. Do I have a shower? Yes. Okay. Do I have coffee? Yes. Okay. I mean, the rest of my life is just extra, man. It's just extra.
Well, there's a reason those things are on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Because they are basic human needs that we have.
Exactly.
Like we need shelter, we need food, we need emotional well-being, right? Like we need our mental health.
Very true.
And then we also need sexual health.
Yeah, and that going back to like what we were talking about with you know, women in their relationship with their bodies and such, you know, sex is as needed by the human being as an animal because we're animals biologically. It is as needed as food. And some people just don't want to be okay with that. Like they don't like the idea of that and unfortunately religion is usually what can tap into why people think the way they do about sex and it's unfortunate, and it's usually where the shame game comes from is from things that people get told from religion perspectives. It comes from the shame game. It's like I got no room in my life for shame or guilt. Those are two emotions that I would rather not have for any reason. And so going back to what you were asking or talking about, like learning how to be your own person with your own definitions, that's one of the reasons why I am the way I am. I'm not about to sign up for someone else's implications or trying to put guilt or shame on me. You know, that's no, I got enough demons in my own head to contend with than to deal with that bullshit. I don't know. I got enough. I am my own worst enemy when it comes to beating myself up. I don't need anybody else trying to do it.
Right? That's where I'm at. Like it took me 30 years to find my self-esteem and my self-confidence.
Right.
But when I finally found it, it was like, holy shit, watch out, world, here I come. Like,
right?
You ain't holding me back. The only person that can hold me back is me.
This is very true. This is very true.
And like I grew up in a cult, like a legit cult. Lots of legalistic rules and like regulations, and most of them were put on women, right?
Of course.
And so like I grew up in a family where like you didn't talk about sex. You didn't, you know, that's just something you didn't talk about in mixed company. You didn't talk about it, period. But my mom was completely different because she left the cult when I was little. And so my mom completely took a completely opposite side of that. And she embraced her womanhood and her sexuality. And, you know, watching her growing up, it was like, it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to, you know, feel beautiful and to put on makeup and do your hair. And, you know, like one of the things I love to do is get my nails done. Like it's
Nice.
okay. It's okay for me to take care of me, but it took me 30 years for me before I was like, hey, it's okay.
That, and you know, however long it took you is what it took. And then, you know, I know one thing for me, the longer it takes for me to achieve something or get something or feel free from something, the more appreciative of it I am when it comes. So I would imagine, and I can't speak for you, but I would imagine that the time you had to spend getting to where you are today was worth it because the payoff is immense.
Oh yeah, girl. I'm so liberated when it comes to my personality and who I am and like just letting go and being free. Like,
yeah,
I wish more people could experience it.
Well, and that's when you just get to show by example what it looks like, and it's going to happen. There are going to be people, those women you were talking about, they probably gravitate to you because they see that and they want it. You know, that's one of the reasons why I have, you know, I don't say names, and I definitely can't. I'm not about to share information about anyone I mentor as Diva Dory, but that's exactly why they find me. The women who find me are the men. Honestly, even men. I have men in my life that come to me because they know they're gonna get told that they're okay. They're gonna get told that it's okay, and go from there. You know, like whatever it is. And they see that, and they may not have that freedom yet. They may not have that unapologetic liberation, but they see me with it and they go, okay, I want that. So, and they know to come to me. People are going to know to come to you, Lola. And then that's the purpose. Like, that's the whole reason. In so many ways, that is your reason, you know, for doing what you do and going through what you've gone through. It's to be there for other people when they come along.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, I love being able to tell people it's okay. It's okay to be you, you know?
Exactly. You do you, boo. That's my Diva Dory phrase. It's the name of my coloring books that I started. I just released my first one this year, and they're coloring books of my art. I took my artwork and I used my light box on some pieces that I couldn't really. I never used to take pictures or anything of my art until it was done. So I had over 100 pieces of artwork over the years, and I couldn't really convert it or put it into the fashion of a coloring book by using any of the pictures because they were all full of paint and color, and trying to convert or take the color out of a photo is really hard. I mean, it's possible, but it was taking fucking forever on a computer. So thank God for the light box, because I got a light box and I started tracing my own paintings, and I created a coloring book with my artwork. So my color palette, as you can imagine, looking at this piece I'm on, is very bright. I like bright colors. I like strong reds. I like tons of black. But other people might want to do something in pastels. And that's kind of why I created the coloring book, so that someone, if they like my art, but maybe they have their own choices for coloring, they can color it. Just go color you.
I get the feeling you have a very bright aura about you, Dory.
I love
You're just
that.
one of those personalities that people gravitate towards and like want to be around.
My ex said that he said to me that he goes, I guarantee you that every man who's ever fallen in love with you has fallen so hard he didn't know what to fucking do with himself. He and I don't speak, you know, like we're not on speaking terms right now, mostly on him, because he has chosen not to speak with me, which is fine. He can do what he wants to do. I'm not blocking the man. I'm not refusing to speak to him, but he's gonna, you know, if he ever wants to mend as friends, that's up to him to do. But he was 100% correct. I mean, I got no, speaking of not apologizing, I almost started to apologize for myself right now. I don't do just one thing. I'm an artist. I'm a comedian. I'm a spoken word performer. I've acted. I've produced. I've directed. I mean, all my own stuff. Sure, you know. Oh man, I've lost count of the number of things on my link tree. My link tree is a fucking shit show of all kinds of stuff, and I've lost count of the number of guys that see that, and I can't own it. It's that's them. But you know, many of them they stop. They find out I've got what I've got, or who I am. I'm too much I'm not even going to lie. I'm too much for so
You're
many people.
intimidating for them because they don't have that self-awareness.
And the ones that are the worst ones, the ones that will not stick around, are the ones that try to do. They immediately get into, and I don't do it. I will not try to compete with a man. I'm not about to. But the guys, they if they get a competitive spirit with me, or try to have a competitive spirit with me, it's such a turn off. I'm like, dude, I'm not here to compete with you. We can't compete. It's just not going to happen. No interest. I don't have no interest in competing with anybody, really. As many years as I've been writing poetry, I've only entered a poetry contest twice in my whole life. Three times, and 2 out of 3 I won.
It's awesome though.
Yeah, but the only reason I entered the first 2 was because of it was for a poetry workshop, actually, where this poet, he runs a workshop on an annual basis. He only allows 6 students into the workshop, and I won a seat in that workshop twice.
That's awesome though. It's like a big credential to have under your belt.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling to know that man picked me for his workshop. It really is. It really is. But competitiveness, competition, no. To me, that's comparison. Comparison is the thief of all joy. I got no interest in it, man. It's one of the things I gravitate towards some of the people I've become friends with. They know, like, they can be collaborative or they can be respectful without having to feel like they're competing with you or putting you down or anything.
Well, usually, like, people become competitive because they're insecure themselves, and there's something about themselves that they're insecure about, and like you have whatever it is they're insecure about that's shining through, and they can't quite handle it.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I've had a few people come across me in my life that, because of their own insecurities or their own feelings of whatever, they allow themselves to put a distance between us as people to be friends or whatever, for whatever their reasons are. Because I certainly don't do that. I am not even gonna. It absolutely wouldn't occur to me to go out of my way to make someone feel bad, ever.
There's this quote that I love from Denzel Washington. He said basically, I may be misquoting it a little bit, but he said that, people's spirits get upset. Their demons are upset because your spirit is showing basically their insecurities. Like, you know what I mean?
I get what you mean. Yeah, if you're
like,
doing something that they're too chicken to do, that's going to probably bug them. If you're doing something that they wish they could do, but they don't have the skill, that'll bug them. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, if they have a weak personality and you have like a really strong personality and you're really confident in yourself, people can't handle that.
Yeah. And I try my best to, if I see that or recognize that, I try to give a wide berth and not play into that or not allow myself to let it affect me or hurt my feelings. I've had a lot of people step away from me for a lot of different reasons that are so not even valid or accurate or true. But all I need to do is remind myself of how, I am so fucking loved. I started to cry on Red Valkyrie. I was so moved. I was so out of my mind, moved by the love. I'm like, who does that? Like, who loves me like that? I was a foster kid that nobody wanted. And now I have this huge family network of people that truly, legit want to see me succeed.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? Like,
I love it.
You can go from feeling like unwanted and hidden in the shadow, and all of a sudden people notice you and they want to be around you and they love you, and it's
and they don't expect anything from you for it. Like, nobody's putting a hand out going, okay, now pay me for my support. Nobody's doing that. They're not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, girl, I get so much encouragement and support from the people that are on my stream and that are just awesome people, awesome creators, and I try to support back and try to encourage back as much as I can.
Right.
I love it. I love the support that this community gives to people. Even like if you're not creating like a cape and cowl type of comic. Like, you can still give support and love the people and love their art and love what they're doing and making and creating.
So true. I was I was cracking up. I was like, I am so gonna have so much fun listening to whatever these guys are gonna come up with these on Aria's Blackness's show, where they're gonna write haikus. I'm like, that's fucking hot. Like, that is the coolest thing I've heard in a long time, is that they're gonna write haikus.
Now, when are you gonna be on there?
It'll be noon California time. So I'm in California. So it's 10:53 here. What time is it there?
It's 12:53.
Okay, so you're 2 hours ahead. So for you, it would be at 2:00.
I'm totally going to tune into that. I love it. Like, I love that they're encouraging and just supporting what you're doing.
Right? I'm so excited. I'm so super, super excited, because I was excited to just be asked, to be asked to come on Bargain Ben and be on Aria's show. But to also, in addition to that, I saw his post today about the haiku thing, and I just died. I'm like, that's fucking rad. Like, that's awesome that they're going to write haikus.
So are you on Twitter then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm on. So Twitter, unfortunately, is the only site where I couldn't use Doris Jones Labors of Love, like the full word, because it's too long. But so it's DJ Labors of Love is what I am on Twitter. But it's funny you ask, because I'm on Twitter way more than I am anything else anymore. I used to be on Facebook more than anything. Now I'm on Twitter more than anything. I'm on like Twitter all day sometimes.
I'm just going to be honest here. I hate social media.
Oh, you don't have to shoot, girl. I have it because this is, I have people in the real world. I do. I have my roommate. I have my roommate's son. I have my kids. But this is why I do social media, is for hanging out and meeting people, and because otherwise I don't have IRL friends. IRL. I love the IRL thing. I'm so old. It makes me laugh to say it.
I have a few IRL people, but I have very few. Like, I have maybe 2 people that I consider real life friends, and everyone else is just there.
You're just there. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But no, that's a big reason why I'm on here, because as much as I am, is because I really, I don't have an in real life friend. I just don't. And you know what? That's not a complaint. I'm not, that is perfectly fine by me, because I got so much stuff going on. I wouldn't even be able to give a proper in real life friend the right kind of attention as a friend right now. I'm a little crazed with all these projects. So I started off the year with the intent of publishing 1 book. I ended up publishing 3 that are unrelated to that book. And so technically, when I get done with that one, I'll have published 4. My plan is to publish it this year for sure. I doubt I'm going to crowdfund it.
That's awesome, though.
It'll probably go on a print on demand, because it's going to be a hardcover, and I don't think I'm going to want to deal with all of the ins and outs of printing and mailing and all that jazz. And it really, truly, it's going to be a little more. It is the most ambitious thing I've ever done. It's already like almost 100 pages. It's an illustrated poetic narrative story, but the poems are what's called narrative story poems. So each poem tells kind of a narrative story of a real life event. Some of it from my childhood, which is one of the reasons why it's called, the name of it is called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque. And
I love it. I love it.
I would imagine, yeah, I know you're young, but you would imagine you know what burlesque is. Burlesque was not full stripping, but they would keep some clothes. Well, by saying that the book is not emotional burlesque is implying that it's as emotionally naked as you can get. And that's the truth. It is. These stories they're way more intimate, way more personal, and way more emotionally naked than anything I've ever written before. And I illustrated the whole thing. I'm
gonna have to check this out. Like, can you put the link in the private chat so I can?
That one's not done just yet. That one is the one I put it on pause during the campaign. It's written. It's written. I have done, I think I've done, I'm pretty sure I'm done with the art. So all I really have left to do with it really is put it together. You know, like the actual busy work of it, the technical, the kind of the part of it that I really can't stand. I would love to hand the art and the words over to someone else and let them do the rest. I'll be like, here, go design the book and put it together. And yeah, but so I'll get around to it. Tomorrow launches the first day. I don't have to go to a day job for a while. I quit my day job, and I will be looking for another one, but I will have a lot of time this week to get some things done. And that I may be able to get that done. I don't know. We'll see.
What was your day job before this?
I've worked in healthcare for 32 years. I've been in healthcare as an administrator, credentialing, you name it. I've probably done it. I'm not a clinician. That's probably the easiest way of saying what I am or didn't. I didn't do clinician work. Like, I'm not a nurse. I'm not a on the floor person with the patients. But if it was in a doctor's office and you were doing back office admin stuff, managing, right, training, supervise, that's all me. That was all me over the years. And so I quit my day job. I will look for another one and finish all these art projects, and I'm almost done with this. I think I'm going to leave those 3 little dots. I like them. It's kind of cool.
I really don't think it takes away from it. I think it adds to it.
Can you see the dots? The way they're on the hand right there? I don't think they're fine.
I think it adds to it, to be honest. Like,
yeah, well, and I'm almost done with the touch-ups. I wanted to do the colors. And so I probably will get off. Like, I've been on for almost 2 hours. I'll probably just get off, because the only thing left to do to this piece is now I'm going to come back in with my black watercolor ink, and I'm going to re-blacken some of the black areas. That's it. And it'll be done.
And for your audience, she doesn't mean get off in a good way.
What? Wait. Are you sure I didn't mean it that way, though? Oh, so while we're chatting and you're here and you're someone who would appreciate it, one of the new endeavors that I just put on my my shop on my Doris Jones Labors. I have a website, it's dorisjoneslaborsoflove.com, and my shop is on there. And one of the things I added to my shop, because I got commission, and I can't, again, it's all super, super confidential, private information, so there's no names being said, but I started painting boudoir, excuse me. So a boudoir picture is a picture of a woman in, lingerie, typically, right? You know what a boudoir photo is. Most people know what a boudoir photo is. So what I did is I took a nude of someone and I turned it into a painting, an abstract realist type painting. I don't do realism. You know what the difference, or do you know the difference? I don't do realism. So the thing in my shop is an abstract image painting similar to what you're looking at, something like this, of a nude or with a sexy outfit, either one. But I had done one and I thought about it and I'm like, I've never been that take commissions type of artist. I've never ever worked that way. I've never been interested in working that way. But I could paint nudes all day long. Like, I love the human form, and I'm a super confidential, private type of person. I don't really talk about people's drama, or I certainly fucking will not talk about someone's private life. And so I thought about it. I'm like, I'll just, if I can wrap my mind around, I was telling Matt Barr this yesterday. I'm like, I don't think I ever want to do commission work. And he goes, you will if the money's right. And then he said the key words, which was, you would if you love what it is you're doing. And I thought about it. And I'm like, I love everything about doing that kind of painting, bringing to life that kind of sexiness, that kind of elegance to a picture, to a painting, because they would not be graphic images. They would be fine art paintings of a person done that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, did I lose you? No.
No. I was seeing you had a comment in your chat. I was like, wait a minute.
Want to become famous by followers, primes, and viewers. That's too funny. Yeah, it's a spammer. I used to have my comments on the setting where I had to approve them. And then I got tired of looking at them and approving them and going into my YouTube. And I'm not even going to lie. Like, I got lazy. I'm like, screw it. Fuck it. You know, like, I get more actual genuine comments than that kind of stuff. So I was like, whatever.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to stream and do what you're doing. And like, it's so much work to run a stream. People just don't understand. They don't know unless they do it themselves.
Oh my God. When I was on Red Valkyrie yesterday, I felt so bad because I couldn't keep up with the chat and I couldn't say anything to people. I had no idea what anybody was saying because I was just so in my own space because I was having this like whole like I was literally having an out of body experience, right? You know, and I'm like, and then on top of that, I was like, I feel like I'm being a terrible person because I'm not paying attention to the chat. You know,
it's hard. Like when I get on my show, like I'm really bad about paying attention to my chat because I'm like, I'm trying to keep up with the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I'm either drunk or high or both.
Oh, I know. The first time I ever was in the chat for your show, you were so wasted, and I added some things to comments, and you never said anything. But that was remember the night, I think, what is his name? He was in the chat. He was in the stream when I came in the next night. Something Wolverine. Yeah. He kept me company in chat. We had a whole conversation in chat while you got like because you weren't, you were out of commission. You couldn't pay attention to me. But so he did. He like kept me company in chat because nobody like you would. I'm like, she's not listening to me. She's ignoring my comments and whatever.
I'm totally not ignoring anyone in my chat. Like it's really just hard to keep up with the conversation that's going on between the people, and then to also bring in the chat. It's like it's so much extra.
Oh my God. Yeah. And it's so fine. I think that night I was doing exactly what you're watching me do right now. I'm fairly certain I was just sitting there listening to you guys working on an art piece. That's what I do a lot when I'm on a stream. I'll hop in and maybe throw in a comment or two if I hear something I want to comment on. But honestly, for the most part, it's like that's my version of music on when I'm doing art now is listening to, live streamers talk about whatever they're talking about. I dig it, man. It's so my jam.
It was so funny, like the night that you came in the first time, like Matt had sent you the link. Yeah, and Gelf was on, and so like he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna send the link to this other person," and so I thought Gelf had sent you the link, but he sent it to the wrong person, and I was like, "Wait a minute, who is this person?
Like, who's Dory? Who is this woman? Where is she?"
I talk to you, and you started talking about tantric sex, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love this woman! Like, I need to know her on the channel."
But clearly, Matt knew I was right for your crowd.
Exactly. Like, oh my God. Like, it always turns into degeneracy, and we're always talking about sex.
Well, it's someone needs to, because there's so many people out there that can't talk about it because there's too many people shaming them into silence, and that's just it just makes no sense. So, but hey,
I don't know if it's because of the way I grew up, like the mom that I grew up with or whatever, but like it's just crazy to me that people are like, "Oh, we can't talk about that because that's grown-up talk," and I'm like, "Dude, I want the grown-up talk. Trust me."
Right. Well, I think I am done, and with the I'm gonna put this in a solo just for a second. Yeah. So this is. It's going to dry, and I always usually like to let them dry like totally before I come back in with black. So I'm going to come back in with a lot of, I got this, this watercolor ink, black watercolor ink. and because I use watercolors, it's my medium, and I wanted to try some of the inks that the guys use for comic books, but then it just, I don't know, I couldn't find, they didn't, well, one, they didn't have it at the store I went to, and then two, I'm intimidated by it. I'm not even going to lie, I'm intimidated by it, and until I have an actual guru mentor who can maybe show me exactly what to buy or what to order, I can't stand the idea of wasting money on an ink I don't even know if it's good ink, you know?
Right.
So I went with watercolor ink because I felt like that's a good compromise, man. I know how to, watercolors, they're my bitch, man. Watercolor paints do what I want. I will
It turns out really beautiful, though. It's a really beautiful piece. Like, I'm looking forward to your book.
Thank you. I'm super excited and thank you for your support, because yeah. So like, so what I'm going to do for the next 30 days, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is I'm going to go through the pieces one at a time like this, because other than adding the black that I want to add to this, all I have left to do then is I spray these with an acrylic spray, gloss spray, and it does a finishing on them. Were you on the stream yesterday when I showed the one piece that's been sprayed?
I believe I was there, but I probably was, like, I turn on streams and tend to like clean house and take care of kids while I'm listening.
Oh yeah, girl. I can relate. Like I said, I ask you that, but trust me, I know, because I go on streams and I'm painting, or I go on streams and I'm writing. I go on stream, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always doing something, man. Like, it's rare that I'm gonna just sit there and watch the stream.
Right.
So this is the one that you saw me doing. This is a finished piece.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. This is the one that there's posters in the campaign of this one.
Have you ever worked with resin?
I have not, but I talked to a painter friend of mine. Her and I just had a conversation about resin. She's going to seal some of her canvas pieces with it, and we're going to get back to, I've never used it. I've never even thought about it. And then I had a conversation with her, and she hadn't done it yet. And so depending on how things go with her piece, I may try it. I haven't decided yet. So
I've seen some really great YouTubers who use it, and they seal their canvases, like you were saying, with it.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I spray mine. So my canvas pieces are the same thing. I spray them. That piece that was bought, she was sprayed and sealed with acrylic gloss, and it's one of the reasons. And I actually love this. I get this question a lot when someone sees a finished piece. They go, "What medium did you use?" Because they almost think it's acrylic, or they think it's oil, but then they're not sure because of the texture or whatever. Because it has a very flat. It's very flat, but it's shiny, and they're like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, yeah, it's a watercolor, but I spray it. So I'm gonna sign off, sweetheart. I'm gonna get off, and
yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna do my normal, like I am going to. My go-to nighttime snack. These are all the original pieces that I have for the book. This one's not.
I appreciate you letting me come on and hang out with you while you were working on that.
I started going on, like I would go on, I think your stream and Critical Blast does that. He does an open mic night type of thing where anybody's invited in. And it gave me the idea. I'm like, hey, if someone wants to come in, come on, like unless I'm running a spotlight show where it's just me, like with me and Matt yesterday kind of thing, I can tell them like, yeah, come on in, hang out. I'm gonna probably start trying to do that more, where when I do come live, I don't have to put the thing in when I see someone in there. I can just put it in the description, I might just start doing that, because I kind of want to do that with these live streams, at least for the things I'm doing. If it's related to La Première Tome, which is the book that's launched, then I'll probably do that. I'm probably going to be like, come into my painting party. You get to be with me while I finish. I'm not doing the art. The art's done. I'm just touching it up like you saw. So
I love meeting new people and getting to know. And like when you were on my stream, there was so many people in there. I didn't really get to meet you properly. I don't think. Like I didn't feel that it was a proper meeting because there were so many people on there, so many different opinions flying around.
Yeah.
And so like I've been tuning into your live streams and stuff, and I'm like, I really like this lady. Like I really want to get to know her better. And
same back at you, girl. Same back to you. I agree. And next time you're live with your gang, you think of me, okay? I'm a night owl. I'm usually up. I really am.
Like you can come on anytime and like hang out with us, and
okay.
Most of the time people are just creating and hanging out, and we're talking about weird shit we find in the wild.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hit my exit. I've been playing that teaser trailer video in and out, so I'm gonna hit it to play, and I'll go offline because I'm not burned out, but I'm gonna go make some popcorn and hot chocolate. Get this, it may not sound like they go together, but a cup of hot chocolate and a big bowl of popcorn, and it could be buttery, whether it's buttery or kettle corn, either one. It's so yummy to take a drink of hot chocolate and popcorn at the same time or behind each other. It's amazing.
Girl, it's the salty and sweet. It's the salty and sweet that go together.
Exactly. So I'm going to hit play on this, and I'm done.
Girl, get it, girl.
Yeah, if you want to hang out right where you are until I'm not live anymore, you're more than welcome to. I will not be offended. I'm going to go have a human break, so it's perfectly fine too.
Yeah,
so,
you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, chat.
Shall we begin?
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Let's begin now.
Ignore me no more, or forever miss me gone. Stop caring, I will.
Sweet girl, I am, yes. Don't underestimate me. Cut a bitch, I will.
There went Pops one day, suggesting I do something in a whole new way.